Hello and welcome. You're watching Friday's edition of Newsplus right here on ZTN Prime, channel 294 on DSTV. Thank you very much for tuning in. My name is Wadzanai Sansole and these are your headlines. Zimbabwe and Zambia today signed 5 memoranda of understanding covering key areas of bilateral cooperation, including diplomacy and politics, labor and immigration, youth, immigration and agriculture. That story plus an analysis coming up on Newsplus. Another story to look forward to on Newsplus. Health experts in Zimbabwe have warned that more children are showing early signs of lifestyle diseases that are driven by poor diets, sugary drinks, and limited physical activity. The pre-sentencing inquiry for the convicted business partners Moses Mpofu and Mike Chimombe has been moved to Monday, 17 November. Stay tuned for details on that story. And in sport, we look at the chaos in the Warriors camp after some players have reportedly already fallen out with new coach Mario Marinica. Let's take a look now at the stories making the headlines. President Hakainde Hichilema says sanctions on Zimbabwe equally affect Zambia's economy as they limit what they can do with their southern neighbor. He was speaking at the inaugural session of the Zimbabwe-Zambia Binational Commission in Harare today. Now, the two countries have signed 6 agreements of mutual benefit as they seek growth through various sectors. In the following report, Mugove Chigada gives us more on the agreements as well as President Mnangagwa's expectations after the historic moment.
Two nations joined by a shared history, culture, and shared resources. Yet trade and cooperation between the two has remained limited despite the natural connection. But now a new era beckons, a joint cooperation commission elevated to a binational commission.
I am confident that this session will see us strengthen and deepen relations between our two countries for our mutual benefit.
President Mnangagwa is confident the two nations can do better in trade, infrastructure development, mining, agriculture, and in the energy sector. Cooperation in such areas, he says, ensures stability and economic growth while also supporting the industrialization agenda.
We are expectant of highly impactful results from our engagements. There is scope for greater cooperation to promote trade and mutual investments in transport, infrastructure, in energy, in mining and agriculture, among many others.
Zimbabwe economic growth for this year is projected at 6.6%, while Zambia is projected to grow by 5.8%. The two countries have some of the fastest growing economies in sub-Saharan Africa. Zimbabwe with the gross domestic product at around US 40 billion and Zambia at around US 30 billion. The two countries are poised for positive growth with enhanced cooperation. And to improve trade between the two, the Zambian president says tariffs and travel restrictions must go.
In the dry season, we used to walk. There's a point we used to walk across to go to Binga. Just walk over the Zambezi at the lower point of the river. So, but today I need a passport to go to Binga. And my relatives need a passport to come to Zambia. Icona, man. Icona.
President Mnangagwa spoke about food security in the face of climate change, indicating that cooperation in the agriculture sector will be critical for the two neighbors.
As a result of deliberate policies and programs in our agricultural sector, we have realized household food security and are now focused on the value addition and beneficiation of the unprecedented surpluses we are now realizing across all agro subsectors.
And in tourism, Zimbabwe's president said the fact that the two countries share the Victoria Falls is telling.
Positive spin-offs from increased tourist arrivals must accrue to the communities, which are the immediate stewards of the Victoria Falls, over and above our respective national economies.
The diplomatic agreement cooperation on labor and employment, cooperation in youth affairs, immigration and technical cooperation, cooperation in the fields of agriculture, as well as the agreed minutes formed the basis of this bi-national commission. Signed and dusted, but what could stand in Zimbabwe-Zambia way? Zambian president says sanctions will remain an issue.
That Zambia reaffirms its unwavering support for the total lifting of sanctions against Zimbabwe. If these sanctions had their value at the time, the value has expired. We need Zimbabwe to exercise its desire to develop the economy, to support its people. Sanctions are standing in the way. I must say, Mr. President, those sanctions on Zimbabwe affect us because they limit what we can do with each other.
The Zambian leader said the strength of the two nations is anchored on the people and its connections.
Zambia and Zimbabwe are connected not just by roads. I didn't say road, by roads. Chirundu, Kariba, Victoria Falls. I heard what you said about the name, Your Excellency.
He called on the completion of the projects in progress and effective management of shared resources. The Zambian president also said they had much to learn on mining from Zimbabwe, especially value addition of lithium. The bi-national commission comes at a time when the two countries are pushing for more foreign direct investment. What better way for two nations to strengthen cooperation than to come together and actually meet? And to borrow from one of the co-chairpersons, is it really possible for two nations to operate separately with a border for that matter? That perhaps are some of the highlights of this bi-national commission. For Sitting Prime, I'm Govech Gada in Harare.
Now, our correspondent Eben Mabunda unpacks some of the agreements signed between Zimbabwe and Zambia, looking at potential areas of boosting trade.
Good evening. Well, of course, these two countries, Zimbabwe and Zambia, are seeking to fortify the bilateral relations. To take a quick look into some stats, the bilateral trade has moved from about $160 million in 2020, moving up to about $350 million in 2022, moving up to $500 million in 2024. And so this engagement is seeking to amplify that particular aggregate. You juxtapose Zimbabwe's trade with South Africa, which is valued at about $8 billion. This speaks to the potential that Zimbabwe and Zambia have in the bilateral trade. Now, let's look at Zimbabwe's exports to Zambia. Zimbabwe is the world's 6th largest tobacco producer and Africa's largest, hence the flow of tobacco products from Zimbabwe into Zambia. Zimbabwe's Delta owns Natbrew in Zambia, hence the shift and the movement where, of course, beer products are concerned into that particular territory. And of course, this details the MOUs that were signed today. The vast majority of them are speaking to the trade. These are economies that have near equal amounts of people at about 16-17 million. The economy of Zambia is at about 30 billion United States dollars. The Zimbabwean economy this time last year was valued at about $32 billion before it was rebased earlier this year to $45 billion. So there are several possibilities of exploration in as far as cementing trade relations between Zimbabwe and Zambia. All, of course, these being an offshoot of the fortified bilateral relations from a diplomatic perspective, which are expected to then give way to the growth in as far as the economic affairs between these two countries.
Thank you very much, Eben. Have a good evening. Now, President Hakainde Hichilema toured the Museum of African Liberation Project and assured stakeholders that his country will play its part to ensure it comes to fruition. He appreciated the work being carried out, saying it tells a true African narrative. He also used the opportunity to water the Zambian Mokamba tree. Now, President Hichilema expressed his gratitude to Zimbabwe for coming up with such an initiative.
Coming here, we first, before we talk about the brick and mortar, we talk about the concept. Yeah. It's really fantastic to have a concept of a heritage, if you like, a museum, to remember where we are coming from, certain significant developments in our history, and they will be kept here. And I'm very happy to know that the initiative President Mnangagwa to get countries like Zambia having a slot in the museum there. So the construction works, yes, but the concept, the theme behind is even more important. Building is important, yes, but we're very grateful for that, for honoring Zambia, and also to have our tree here. The Zambia tree here, Mugamba tree, we call it the same name in Zambia, and we're very happy that this initiative, this honor, is taught onto us by the people of Zimbabwe through this, if you like, action is well appreciated. And obviously we will work with our ministry, relevant ministry, to work with their colleagues here, the leadership here, so that we can do what we are required to do as part of this museum's completeness.
Sunday Mail Deputy Editor Lovemore Chikova joins us live to discuss the visit by President Hichilema. Good evening, Lovemore. Thank you for joining us on Newsplus. What were some of the key takeaways from today's engagement at the Zimbabwe-Zambia Binational Commission?
Okay, thank you very much, Wadzanai. What we saw today was the inaugural binational commission between Zambia and Zimbabwe. And this binational commission came out as a result of the elevation of the joint permanent commission on cooperation to the new system of the binational commission. That is why we saw the heads of states, President Chilema from Zambia and President Mnangagwa co-chairing this summit. But the major outcome of this meeting was the signing of memorandum of understanding. There are a number of them. There was the memorandum of understanding on cooperation in immigration and technical cooperation. There was also the memorandum of understanding on diplomatic training between the two countries, and also the memorandum of understanding on youth affairs, and another one on agriculture. And I think agriculture is also one of the most important because the two countries depend on agriculture in their economy.
Now, Lovemore, how important is it for Zimbabwe and Zambia to reduce tariffs to increase trade and economic cooperation?
The decrease in tariffs or the removal of tariffs is actually being done in the spirit of the African Continental Free Trade Area, which is yet to take root. But it shows that Zimbabwe and Zambia are already moving ahead of other countries. And also it is being done in the spirit of the SADC free trade area. So what it means is that Zimbabwe and Zambia are already tapping into that provision in the SADC free trade area. And also another important thing is that removing of trade barriers means that people, the general people in both countries, the traders, consumers, and even industrialists can actually benefit from that, because goods will become cheaper in both countries. And also there will be a free movement of those goods, and also industry itself can actually benefit because it becomes a creation of one very big market, combining the population of Zambia and Zimbabwe.
Now, the Zambian president echoed the call of removal of sanctions against Zimbabwe. How important is this message of solidarity for Zimbabwe?
Okay, on sanctions, I think what is important to note is that the anti-sanction campaign spearheaded by SADC has already taken root in the whole region. So with we saw President Chilema actually speaking against the sanctions and calling for their removal when he was addressing the binational commission. So this is being done in the spirit of solidarity within the African region, and also the removal, the call by Zambia to remove this sanction. It means that President Chilema is actually realizing that only African problems can result in the solving of African problems. Punishments from outside will actually disrupt the coordination among African countries. And also Zimbabwe and Zambia stand to benefit if these sanctions are removed, because they have a number of joint projects which they are working on. So it means without sanctions there will be the attraction of investment, there will be also the ease of doing business in both countries. So this will enhance finances to be directed toward this project which these two countries are jointly working on.
Thank you very much, Lovemore. Appreciate your time and have a good evening. Now, shortly after the break, Newsplus will give you a story on early disease signs, lifestyle signs in children.
Vanoda valisizi itai aye, varimi vese itai aye, vanoda go itai aye, simuza go rako, kurumiza, nogona kungoti oyo, valisizi padamoyo, vanyai vana maina na baba, kurumiza, mbeu kwayo riku valisizi. Airo nezvivukuto kana tsikitsi kana zvirwere ende nokupa harvest. Apa ndiri kurevesa very honest. Never lisidzi itai aye, varimi vese itai aye.
Mwaka uno tenga mbeu yako ku Valley Seeds usimudze goho rako. Valley Seeds vauchiki vembeu yechibage yepana nePioneer, Goros, ma-traditional grains nema-vegetable seeds ose anopa goho repamusoro-soro. Valley Seeds, where farming meets the farmer.
Dear Santa, all I want this holiday
is special family time.
Whenever you come around family, you can find love.
To go on an adventure.
Tickets to every game.
Some giggles.
And a puppy.
Let's go!
Yippee!
This holiday, simply stay connected and get all you want on DSTV, your home of entertainment.
This is Newsplus coming to you live from Harare. Now, health experts are raising concerns about the rising number of overweight and obese children in Zimbabwe, warning that this could fuel an increase in diabetes and other non-communicable diseases. Now, the call comes as Mpilo Central Hospital led World Diabetes Day commemorations in Bulawayo today.
A growing crisis and a growing concern. Health specialists say more children are showing early signs of lifestyle diseases driven by poor diets, sugary drinks, and limited physical activity. The warning comes as Mpilo Central Hospital led World Diabetes Day commemorations, beginning with a march that brought together health workers, families, and people living with diabetes. The event was convened by the Retired Nurses Fellowship, a group of former nurses who continue to guide and support the profession in Bulawayo and are now using their experience to champion community health. Specialist physician and diabetologist Dr. Rudogwini said more children are presenting with weight-related complications, increasing their risk of developing diabetes very early. She urged drastic lifestyle adjustments.
What we give our children is very important. Most of them, we think it is highly fashionable, or it gives me a high status if I'm giving my child the sausages that you've mentioned, the drinks, the fizzy drinks that you've actually mentioned. All these things then are conducive or create a conducive environment for them to develop diabetes.
Doctors also raised the alarm over reduced physical activity among children, warning that long hours on screens are replacing active play. Adults are also leading sedentary lifestyles with very little physical activity, coupled with poor eating habits characterized by highly processed foods.
So we now have non-communicable diseases accounting for most of the morbidity and mortality that we see in the hospital. In as much as the infectious diseases are still there, the non-communicable diseases are coming, and they are here and they are affecting everyone right across the spectrum, regardless of age. Really, child obesity is there. You see all the people getting diabetes, hypertension. It's mostly to do with the lifestyle that we have.
The commemorations also included an interactive question and answer session where doctors addressed myths and misconceptions about diabetes and hypertension medication. Many people living with the condition shared how misinformation had once put them at risk.
anokonzera futi shuga kuti zvimwe zvezvikonzero here zvinoita kuti uve neshuga mapirisi eBP nokuti vamwe vanoramba kwavama vachiti hanzi anozokonzera futi shuga igoro educato vamwe kuti hai ndandiri kuavenesta kuti ndanzwa kunzi ngaibatsirwa.
Participants living with diabetes spoke about their journeys from late diagnosis to learning how to manage the disease.
Sivuma ukuthi abantu bale machukela abanye ngabakwazi abanye bayayazi, but ukuyacheka lapho kuchekwa khona ichukela asithi umuntu kakwazi ukuthi ayochekisa ichukela uzazabonisa imbulala, kanti ke kufanele kube lakho kube khona indawo zokuthi uyochekisa ichukela. Nginanzelela mina ukuthi lapho echekiswa khona kwezinye indawo kuyabhadalwa.
Ichukela yalandela khona kwaba kutholo lama exercise lami sengikwanisa ukuvuka nami ngithanyela ihadi ngithanyela endlini ngiyakhorobha ngifaka ikhobra ngenze konke kuthi ungahlali ube ikhabithi ngoba ichukela liyavidelela.
Stories echoed this doctor's message. Diabetes is manageable, but early detection is key. Zimbabwe's diabetes burden continues to rise, with global estimates showing more than 106,000 adults living with the disease, many of them undiagnosed. Health workers say preventing diabetes begins in the home, healthier meals, more physical activity, and regular screening. For ZTN Prime, I'm Andile Chuma in Bulawayo.
In other news, the pre-sentencing inquiry for the convicted business partners Moses Mpofu and Mike Chimombe has been moved to Monday, 17 November. Justice Pisirai Kwenda granted the application by defense counsel Lavmo Maduku, who sought the court's indulgence to move the matter, citing the absence of his colleagues, Advocate Karikai Stole and Advocate Tapson Jetero. Now, their defense team also plans to request access to the court judgment that convicted them, intending to use it as a basis for their arguments, and the final judgment on their sentence will follow the pre-sentencing inquiry under the new guidelines for appropriate penalties. Over $7 million under the presidential GOAT pass-on scheme.
This is a people's game. They will be bubbling about this one for weeks and months to come.
Wherever you are, whatever your reason, it's on SuperSport all season long. Reconnect and stay connected to DSTV Compact and get the best football on us.
A team from the African Peer Review Mechanism today toured the completed $300 million Beit Bridge border post modernization project and related infrastructure and mining development initiatives. This is part of their ongoing assessment of governance and development issues in Zimbabwe. The delegation, led by Ambassador Ali El-Hefi, expressed satisfaction with the progress at the country and SADC's busiest inland port of entry. Improved efficiencies have seen the volume of commercial trucks passing through the border. Now, the APRM's evaluation exercise seeks to review governance practices, identify best practices, and support member states in achieving good governance, sustainable development, and inclusive growth.
Explaining to us the development that was scored here in this place in the last few years, and how this has had a wonderful impact on the daily work of the customs, but also of ZIMRA, the immigration, the customs, ZIMRA, and we understood a lot. It will add an added value to our mission to Zimbabwe, but there would have been something missing if we didn't pay that visit here today. So it has added to our collection of data, collection of information, having more insights about this specific province and this specific municipality.
Moving on, the Minister of Higher and Tertiary Education, Innovation, Science and Technology Development, Dr. Frederick Shava, has underscored the importance of manpower and skills development as the backbone of Zimbabwe's industrialization and national transformation agenda. He was speaking in Bulawayo at the official opening of the Zimbabwe Manpower Development Fund, ZIMDEF, Strategic Planning Workshop, which will guide the fund's operations under the National Development Strategy 2, 2026 to 2030.
The week-long workshop has brought together key education and industry stakeholders, including vice-chancellors, college principals, and private sector representatives to review ZIMDEF's performance under the National Development Strategy 1. The aim is to chart a new course for the next 5 years. Minister of Higher and Tertiary Education, Innovation, Science and Technology Development, Dr. Frederick Shava, said the nation is built by its own people and ZIMDEF stands as a cornerstone of that construction, as manpower development is the fuel that powers national transformation.
The nation is built by its own people. The ZIMDEF stands as a cornerstone of that construction, because without money, some of the constructions would not have been possible.
The minister commended ZIMDEF for its contribution to the Heritage-Based Education 5.0 agenda, which has seen over 33,000 artisans and technicians certified, growth in STEM enrollment, and major infrastructure projects completed across tertiary institutions.
Now, as we gravitate into the strategic imperative for NDS2, that is from foundations to frontiers. And as we pivot NDS2, our focus sharpens from stabilization to accelerated innovation-led industrialization.
ZIMDEF Board Chairperson, Professor Rafinos Chabaya, said the new strategy must build on past successes and ensure that Zimbabwe continues to produce a skilled workforce aligned with these industrial goals.
A tree is known by its fruit, close quote. And indeed, our collective efforts over the years have yielded a ZIMDEF fruit. A fruit that we are proud to harvest as we reflect on our achievements under NDS.
Permanent Secretary for Higher and Tertiary Education, Professor Fanuel Tagwira, emphasized that skills development is not only about training, but about producing innovators who can create solutions for the country's development challenges.
University of Zimbabwe, the Mount Lab Plaza at Harare Institute of Technology, and hostels at Manicaland State University of Applied Sciences. These are all projects which without ZIMDEF, they will not have seen the light of day. We are going to be pushing for appreciation by all in sundry, that they recognize that ZIMDEF is doing a noble job.
ZIMDEF Chief Executive Officer Engineer Sebastian Marume says the fund remains committed to its mandate of supporting critical skills development and strengthening partnerships within industry.
It presents an opportunity for ZIMDEF to take stock of how we performed under NDS1, which is coming to an end in December 2025, to reflect on achievements, identify the lessons learned, and realign our focus to ensure our work continues to meaningfully contribute to the national vision 2030.
As the workshop continues in Bulawayo, delegates are expected to finalize the ZIMDEF strategic plan for 2026 to 2030, which will serve as a roadmap for manpower development under NDS2 and drive Zimbabwe's vision of becoming an upper middle income economy by 2030. For ZTN Prime, I'm Andile Chuma in Bulawayo.
Zimparks has launched its 2025 tourism festive season campaign, #Big5 Challenge, a move meant to promote tourist destinations and have a first-hand experience of the country's big 5 animals. The campaign, launched this Friday, comes after Zimbabwe was ranked as the #1 tourism destination in 2025. Now, Zimparks Commercial Services Director Nomsa Chitaka highlighted the importance of local participation in boosting the sector, saying the #Big5 Challenge is designed to make tourism more accessible while promoting conservation awareness.
Whereby the Forbes magazine recognized Zimbabwe as the best destination to visit for 2025. So we are saying as Zimparks, we have a wild, vast asset base of wildlife within the country. This is our asset, this is our heritage. And as Zimbabweans, let us embrace the conservation efforts that we are deploying as Zimparks.
Now, through the #Big5 Challenge, Zimparks is also introducing interactive social media challenges where visitors can document their encounters with the Big 5, creating excitement and encouraging more Zimbabweans to actually explore destinations such as Hwange, Manapools and Gonarjo.
So this is a call to Zimbabweans to embrace and explore what we have on our hands. Let's increase the patronage in our parks estates. Let's also increase the way we expose even our children for future generations to the assets and heritage that we have as Zimbabwe.
Now, our resident weatherman James Ngoma joins us live to give us an update of what to expect over the weekend in terms of weather. Good evening, James. Thank you for joining us. What can we expect as we get into the weekend?
Thank you very much, Wazi, for that question. Looking at the conditions that we've had over much of the country, to the south we had a bit of cooling southeasterlies, whilst to the north we had mostly sunny skies, except for the western parts of the country where we had moisture drifting in as of this afternoon over areas such as Victoria Falls. This is evident of the moisture that we've got that is emanating from Botswana, which should spread across the country as we move out of the weekend. But for tomorrow, we're still expecting that cool southeasterly to still influence much of the weather. We're expecting cloudy conditions over Matabeleland south into southern parts of the Midlands, Masvingo province, as well as Manicaland, even touching parts of Harare metropolitan. We're expecting a bit of coolness tomorrow. But as we get into Sunday, we're expecting more of the sunshine at first, but because of the moisture that's drifting in from Botswana, we're expecting thundery weather to drift into the western parts of the country, and this should give us a bit of thunder showers as we get into Sunday evening as well as on Monday. So it's a mixed bag of weather as we get into the weekend. A bit of sunshine at first, cooling winds later, then we get a bit of rain showers as we move out of the weekend.
music transcends boundaries. Where rhythm and melody unite the hearts of people. Comes a show that celebrates the power of music like never before. Get ready to dive into a sonic journey that will leave you mesmerized and yearning for more. Welcome to the captivating world of Z Vibes. Vibe to it, baby.
Welcome back. A look at the global updates now. The Nigerian government has announced it is cancelling a controversial policy that mandated the use of indigenous languages for the teaching in the earliest years of schooling instead of English. The now defunct program, introduced 3 years ago, was anchored on beliefs that children learned more effectively in their mother tongue. Now, English will be reinstated as the medium of instruction from pre-primary levels through to university. And the debate highlights the ongoing challenge in Nigeria of balancing the promotion of its rich linguistic heritage with the practical demands of a national curriculum and a globalized economy where English proficiency is dominant. Now, in Malawi, activists submitted a formal petition to Parliament seeking to amend its standing orders, demanding an end to the English-only rule and allowing members to use local languages. Protesters held up placards such as "Local Languages from Rich Debate" in the House and "Indigenous Languages for Inclusivity," chanting slogans near Parliament. The petition was handed over on the initiative of the Lost History Foundation and the Center for Democracy and Economic Development Initiatives.
It appears we inherited a lot of things from the colonial masters, the British, including the language. Now it's high time that we need to question, we need to begin to interrogate some of these things we copied. Because we are known to be copying and pasting, but we have got our own finer prints. Almost 61 years of independence, we need to be questioning why should we campaign in indigenous languages, and we send those members, we claim they are our servants, they go into the house and begin transacting business in English.
Elsewhere, archaeological excavation unearthed 7 bodies at mass graves at Theroy Military Cemetery in Dakar, offering new insight into a colonial-era massacre. In December 1994, West African soldiers, including those from Mali, Senegal and Burkina Faso, revolted over the delayed payments and treatment at the Theroy camp. Now, French soldiers then opened fire on December 1st, 1994, after discontent mounted. Now, researchers have excavated 7 of an estimated 200 unmarked graves. After analyzing the remains, a team of archaeologists reported that they could belong to soldiers shot by French forces. These findings go against the account given by French authorities at the time.
Avant, on nous faisait croire que ici c'était des cénotaphes, ça veut dire que c'était des tombes qui n'avaient pas de corps, mais la vérité, le sous-sol nous a montré que cette version était fausse, puisqu'on a trouvé 7 corps dans les 7 tombes qu'on a creusées. Alors, le nombre, quand on parle du nombre de victimes, il y a quand même une constante. C'est que le militaire, il ne peut pas embarquer son personnel sur un bateau ou bien sur un avion, en tout cas sur quelques moyens de transport que ce soit, sans avoir la liste. Les résultats qu'on a obtenus de la première partie des fouilles montrent véritablement que la version française, elle est fausse, parce que quand on essaie de creuser 7 tombes et qu'on trouve 7 corps, cela veut dire qu'il se pourrait qu'il y ait... Et encore, c'est pas fini, parce que l'espace qui a été creusé, c'est un espace où la nappe phréatique est très proche. Donc, il se pourrait qu'il y ait superposition de corps, et ça, on ne peut pas le savoir pour l'instant.
Now, Malian Foreign Minister Abdoulaye Diop has rejected reports suggesting that militant groups could seize the capital, asserting that the security situation in Bamako is under complete control. It comes after some reports of escalated attacks and blocked fuel convoys from neighboring countries, causing shortages in Bamako and other cities and disrupting transport and essential services.
Dans des officines, des services de renseignement étrangers, mais aussi sur les tableaux, sur les plateaux de télévision, n'est pas le Mali, n'est pas le Bamako que vous avez en face de vous. Donc il est important que ceux qui sont derrière ces terroristes et ceux qui se présentent comme aujourd'hui des relais du message des groupes terroristes puissent comprendre que toute cette désinformation ne portera pas, parce que en réalité, ceux qui décrivent, ils doivent sortir de leurs rêves pour venir à la réalité. La réalité, elle est différente. Le Mali est là.
UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres has stressed the need to correct what he described as a historic injustice by ensuring stronger African representation in global governance during a United Nations briefing. Now, he called for Africa to have permanent representation at the UN Security Council, as well as more non-permanent seats.
First of all, because of colonialism itself and its impact. And second, because when the international multilateral system was created, Africa was not present at the table. And so it was largely created in line with the interests of the countries that at the time were around the table, and they are essential developed countries. And so it's absolutely essential to correct this historic injustice. And that means presence of Africa with permanent members in the Security Council and also more non-permanent members. And that means that Africa's weight in the international financial system needs to increase, and Africa needs to benefit from the international financial architecture in a way that is compatible with enormous challenges that the African continent faces.
In our look at business, we'll give you something on MMCZ reporting 14% sales volume growth.
Harare, tune into the beat.
Capitalk 100.4 FM, your source for news, business, sports, fashion, and more.
Experience the pulse of Harare's culture and lifestyle.
Capitalk 100.4 FM, Harare's top radio station.
Join the conversation with Zimbabwe's top personalities.
Subscribe now for fresh and infotainment content daily.
Capital 100.4 FM, Harare's heartbeat.
The Minerals Marketing Corporation of Zimbabwe, the country's only seller of all minerals except gold and silver, has reported that in the 9 months to September 2025, sales volumes were up 14%, with value up 0.7% compared to the same period in 2024. The corporation says it expects to close its last quarter strongly as global commodity prices firm and renewed industrial activity in major consuming market grows. Our business reporter Melissa Chatikobo has the details.
In the 9-month period to September 2025, mineral sales stood at 3.8 million tons worth $2.36 billion United States dollars. Compared to the same period last year, sales were up 14% in volume and 0.66% in value, despite high energy costs and soft global prices.
Given the developments globally, we are hopeful despite the challenges that we have of these tariffs and other sanctions that are being imposed to different countries. We are still hopeful that as minerals, we never go wrong. Yes, the prices and everything may go down, but we still remain positive.
The market outlook improved towards the end of the third quarter, with key commodities showing strong recovery. Prices of platinum group metals rose 54.5%, ferrochrome 24%, chrome 22.6%, and lithium 7.54%. a lift that MMCZ says will support its full-year export targets.
As MMCZ, we are a price taker, or as Zimbabwe, we are a price taker. But due to the upward trends in our prices for PGM's basket, ferrochrome and chrome, we anticipate that we are going to meet our target, and the outlook looks good even as we go into 2025.
9 new export markets were also opened: coal and coke to Malawi and Tanzania, antimony to China, steel across the DRC, Mozambique, South Africa, Botswana and Zambia, and finally gemstones to Cyprus.
Continuously, get inquiries, across the globe, and because of that, our markets for lithium are always there. What we actually would want to see is probably more round up production.
Rising global prices combined with expanded African and Asian markets have positioned MMCZ to close the year strongly. The mining sector remains the largest driver of foreign currency earnings. MMCZ believes this late year lift will feed into broader economic stability heading into 2026. Reporting for ZTM Prime, I am Melissa Chitkubo in Harare.
Government has called on agricultural graduates to be innovative and contribute to the country's agriculture-led economy. This was said during a graduation ceremony at Rio Tinto Agricultural College in Kadoma, where 90 students were conferred with diplomas in agriculture. The celebration was running under the theme "From Knowledge to Innovation, Advancing Food Security Everywhere, Every Day." Now, Deputy Minister of Agriculture Davis Marapira said that the government's thrust under Vision 2030 and the Agricultural Food Systems Transformation Strategy is to promote rural industrialization through productivity, resilient agricultural enterprises, and market-oriented practices.
Are the agents who will transform rural areas into hubs of agro-industries, creating jobs and wealth within our communities. You are not just graduates or graduates now. You are the embodiment of strategy and national strategy, equipped with the tools to bring it to life. I charge to you graduates who are graduates now, as you step forward today, you carry more than a certificate. You carry more than a diploma. You carry the hopes of a nation poised for an agricultural revolution.
The principal of the college, Lakson Modari, said the school attained a 99% pass rate and has ensured that they are promoting gender inclusivity in their enrollment. He implored students to use Education 5.0 to promote entrepreneurship and advance the agricultural sector.
Since the inception of the diploma program in 1982, Rio Tinto Agricultural College has successfully trained a total of 2,287 diploma graduates, with 137 under the new curriculum AE4D 5.0. This year we celebrate the graduation of 90 students comprising of 50 females and 40 males, achieving a 56-to-44 gender ratio.
Coming up is entertainment. Songbird Tererai Mugwadi has rubbished concerns among her colleagues and music fans that she is being destroyed by a drug addiction and substance abuse. A recent shocking video of her performance at the Shoko Festival has ignited fresh concerns about her mental health and triggered calls for her to get expert help. However, in an exclusive interview with H Metro, Tererai claims she is in the right frame of mind and is actually working hard to become a better person. Tererai has also vowed to be strong at a time when she is being ridiculed on social media. And musically, the songbird, who is immensely talented as a vocalist and performer, has vowed not to throw in the towel. And in other entertainment news, Zimbabwe is showing strong support for Lashanda Moyes, who is representing the country at the Miss Universe pageant in Thailand. The Miss Universe 2025 voting is open now, allowing people from across the world to vote for their favorite contestant. And Zimbabweans back home and abroad have been voting for Lashanda. Currently, she has more than 46,000 votes, and these votes will help her secure a place not only in the semi-finals, but also contribute to People's Choice fan votes. Right. US-based African art and culture advocate Bugegile Dube has commended local creatives who continue to excel overseas with their exceptional collections. Dube, the founding director of an art residency in Dallas, Texas, is certain about the safety of the visual arts sector, given its continued production of stars. She spoke highly of local creatives at a time when they are hosting two visual artists, Pardon Mapondera and Nothando Chiwanga, for the group exhibition titled Crossing Lines, Contemporary Voices from Zimbabwe and South Africa in Dallas. In our last entertainment story, Canada-based events manager and radio personality Slicey T has paid tribute to the late revolutionary singer Dixon Chingaira, also known as Comrade Chinks, for his major role in mentoring him. Slicey T revealed that Comrade Chinks mentored him alongside Alan Mupanduki, Gaylord Kwatidzo, Colin Sondai, and Lenin Chingaira. The quintet then formed Slice Band, and tragically, Comrade Chinks passed away on June 16, 2017 at the age of 61, but Slicey T emphasized that his musical path from Chitungwiza to Canada would be incomplete without acknowledging the influence of Comrade Chinks. Coming up is sport.
Pardon? The cup. Oh! Okay.
I'm Ollie J, your host and captain for this technological voyage.
They say that curiosity killed the cat. Well, we say curiosity makes you swipe.
Okay, there's a real big one. Oh, okay.
Okay, take the elevator.
Okay, that one came out of
look up.
From some tech-tastic adventures to some out-of-this-world Zimbabwean inventions to the scientifically mind-boggling, we show it all.
What we're looking at is two charging ports to charge the vehicle.
And things get electric. Catch Swipe right here on ZTN Prime, DSTV channel 294.
Warriors are in crisis mode following their 3-1 defeat to Algeria in an international friendly in Jeddah, Saudi Arabia. The result has fueled widespread criticism of Warriors coach Marian Marinica, who took charge of the national team for the first time against the Desert Foxes. The criticism has largely been centered on his management of players and his football philosophy of playing very fast football. And speaking after yesterday's defeat, Marinica blamed the defeat on poor work ethic and the absence of key players like Marshall Munetsi, Kama Billiard and Knowledge Musona.
Well, so many players, absent, but a very good team and with very good coach, very good personnel. They have I think, fantastic chance.
What does it work for you?
Well, I think in a way our work ethic wasn't there in the first half. I don't think my players work hard enough the way I wanted.
Warriors stand-in captain Gerald Takwara admitted his charges were poor, but insisted there were positives to draw from the defeat. And ahead of their next friendly against Qatar in Doha on Monday, they prepared.
It was a good game. Algeria, they were showing us some flames in the first half. They were playing very good. They dominated first half. That's why we conceded 3 goals. But come second half, we're a little bit compact. We're working together. Second half was better for us also. We managed to score 1 goal. Yeah, but then we lost to a better team, and they are one of the best.
Meanwhile, forward Tawanda Chirewa has left the Warriors camp and is headed back to his English Premier League side Wolves. Chirewa was on target against Algeria, slotting home the consolation from the penalty spot. In a statement, Zifa said Chirewa's departure had been pre-planned on the request of his club, who are going through a coaching transition. Still on sport, the Premier Soccer League has ordered Ngezi Platinum Stars head coach Tekshwa Chiragwi to undergo anger management lessons after he was found guilty of violence and disorderly conduct during the league match against Dynamos at Rufaro Stadium on October 4th. Chiragwi, who admitted to the charges, was fined $4,000 with $1,000 suspended on condition that he completes anger management training with an organization approved by the PSL. Ngezi Platinum Stars were also fined $5,000, while defender Kudzai Chigwida was fined $100 for ungentlemanly conduct. Now, Zimbabwe's women's rugby sevens team, the Lady Cheetahs, are in Kenya ahead of the start of the 2025 Africa Women's Sevens on Saturday. The Lady Cheetahs are in a tough pool along with defending champions South Africa and Mauritius. They will open their campaign against Mauritius in the morning before facing off with South Africa later in the day. The Lady Cheetahs finished 9th out of 12 teams last year and will be looking to improve on the performance during this year's edition. And that's a wrap on Newsplus this evening. Thank you very much for joining us. My name is Wadzanai Sansole. Have a good weekend.
Catch exclusive interviews every weekday for candid, exciting and thought-provoking conversations with your host.
Talk about arts, we can talk about sports, we can even talk about politics, and sometimes we venture into a nice guitaristic play. The one story where you can't get out of your head. Wakatarisa munhu so Erica like where you are sitting. Ndozongokona bata face so pasina munhu.
Wakasiya music yako yo Afro chakuti ndo music manje no yeMzimbabwe.
And I'm sure they're still saying the same thing now.
Yeah, so Shona kana kuti Chindevere kana mumwe mutauri muno muZimbabwe ndiwe iwewe. Ndiwo rupawo rwako. Ndicho chidadiso chako.
Catch me, Erica Ndoro, right here on ZTN Prime every single Monday at 7 p.m. whilst we get exclusive.
In a world where music transcends boundaries, where rhythm and melody unite the hearts of people, comes a show that celebrates the power of music like never before. Get ready to dive into a sonic journey that will leave you mesmerized.
Hey, everyone! Listen, gather around. Okay, I saw
Cublo vibes.